more peaceful. You are creating a new individuality around yourself. New individual. You are creating a new ego. What we are saying, we already have a real self inside. Why to create? Whatever is created can be destroyed, can be changed, can be modified. Can be modified, can be changed. So we do not take too much of importance on ego. The more importance we give to the ego in us is strengthened. Ego in us is strengthened. And then that ego fights with one shade with the other shade. And then it says, I'm totally frustrated. No doubt. No doubt. In the beginning. In the beginning, we realize as if all our thoughts, speech, and actions are done by this ego. Why? Because mind is constantly seeking pleasure and happiness outside in the world. But as we follow the second step, nitya and the naimitya karma, then we understand the cause inherent defects of the pleasure. Now, who is going to search happiness outside when it is not there? Then where is the ego? So then that so called ego undergoes a change, a transformation inside. Take one example. Honey, why you were not there, when I was seeking pleasure, but now inside there is no pleasure seeking. You are calm. Ego is gone. Where is the ego? There is no ego at all. So we have to go slowly, listen to it again, understand it, followed by the practice. Do it, understand. Do it, understand. So, one most important part before we go into the 15th step today, that will also help us to uh, dissolve that ego. Ego in Eastern wisdom, we say ahamkara. So, ahamkara means I am plus akar. I give a shape to that I am is ego. I am Girish, that is ego. But this ego doesn't create any problem. Let me keep it. So anyone asks, who are you? What is your name? I say, I am Girish. Ego. But that ego is not creating any problem. So let me live with it. Where is the problem? You tell your name, you tell your profession, there is no ego. But if you give the shape of your name, I'm Girish, I'm a great guru, the ego comes. No, I have to play my role as a teacher as long as there is a student in front of me and finished. So it all demands only an awareness. Go through it, restudy it, listen to it again and again. So we have the step number 15, then the real journey starts from the 16. Shravanam. So all the first 15 steps are all the preparation. And even during the preparation, we are calm, relaxed. We see that what is calmness, what is relaxation, what is peace, what is joy. We did a lot of practices of meditation and we find the joy. But still, Master says the real journey starts. It does not mean that step number 1 to 15 is the preparatory step. You become a seeker. You become a perfect seeker. When you are a perfect seeker, then you follow Shravanam. The step number 16 is known as Shravana, means listening and learning from the teacher. What will happen? If you are at the highest level of a seeker, you are listening and you say, I'm already there. I don't need the practice. So these 15 steps are the preparation. So, step number 15 says learn to meditate on the Supreme Self, immutable. It also means the Master is saying that learn to meditate on unmanifest. How to meditate? Unless I know the reality of this real self. So then how to understand the knowledge of that? What exactly is this real self, which is also known as Supreme Self and which is also known as a God in Eastern wisdom? So there are many texts, but it is better to go to Patanjali. There are 5 sutras that explains, that defines, that makes us understand what is this real self. क्लेश कर्म विपाक आशये परामृष्टः पुरुष विशेष ईश्वरः. What is God? Which is the real self? What is that? So, when we understand it clearly, the intellect has a clarity and conviction. The mind says, I got it. So, what is the meaning of this sutra? So, that real self is a pure consciousness. First, Klesh Karma Vipak, it is untouched by affliction, sorrow, pain. First thing. It is unaffected, untouched by any karma. It is not the doer and the enjoyer. Why? Its nature is peace and happiness. Why it should work? To why it should run after the objects of the world to seek peace and happiness. So, first principle, it says that is the nature of pure consciousness and it has few special characteristics. What is that? It is untouched by sorrow, it is untouched by karma, it is untouched by the fruits of the karma, and it is untouched by the past impression and the sanskaras. That is our real self. We will understand, we will go a little deeper. Then he explains the beautiful Tatra Niratishayam Sarvagnya Bijam. It is the source of all knowledge. It is all knowing. It is the source of all knowledge. So once we clearly understand it is the source of all knowledge, how, where, and when we got it, we got a glimpse of the real self. Then Patanjali further says, So esh urvesham api guru kalin anavchedat, means what he says. He says this real self is the guru of all the gurus in the past. Do you remember I said who is the ultimate guru? From this sutra I said who is the ultimate guru? That is in you. It is behind your ego. So I have to simply, I need not to destroy ego, just go behind the ego. Find out where to go, how to go behind the ego. So it is the guru of all. And in the next sutra, he says that consciousness, that real self can be designated, can be given a name. What is that name? Om. That name is Om. I have one name, you have other name, and here the name is Om. Okay, then what should I do? Then, based on the previous sutras that we have explained you about the real self, you meditate on Om with understanding, with the knowledge you have gained from the previous sutras about the real self. Tataha japah tadartha bhavanam. So these are the these are the five sutras that throws the light in one way. That is the first part of the journey. As we go deeper, then we will pick up Upanishad. So now understand that consciousness. So master gives example. Does anything happens to this space? You build a skyscraper, you demolish it. Nothing happens to the space. Similarly, that real self, which is of the nature of the consciousness, nothing happens to it. Whatever you do by body, mind, intellect, ego, huh? You did the crime, nothing happens to that consciousness. You did a good deed, nothing happens to that consciousness. But what happens if you do the crime, you go too far, you go far away from that consciousness because you are totally attached, engaged, obsessed with the things outside. You get a sense of forgetfulness. You know, sometimes people say, look at these criminals, they kill their conscience. First, they kill their conscience and then they kill others. So it means they are talking about that I have gone too far from the real self. So if I want to discover my real self, it means uh, first 15 steps. Now see, you pick up all those steps, you will realize why the master is making us a seeker. Why master is saying do not get carried away by the past impression. Yesterday you did something wrong, don't carry that impression today. Who carries that impression? Ego. So why you are giving a fire to the ego? But why it happens? Because mind has made its habit. So why it has made its habit? Because it is constantly seeking pleasure from outside. Put up the argument. Put up the argument. I was seeking pleasure from you, but you hit me back and it gave me the pain. And now I carry that impression all the time in my mind. That is what the ego is. So you have to bring all these principles together. You have to play with them. When you play with them, you are free. Then I come back. He says, Klesh karma vipakashaye paramrastah purush vishesh ishwarah. There is a spatial self that is known as Ishvara. Why it is spatial? Because it is not affected by suffering, miseries. It is not concerned by the fruits of an action, what you did yesterday and what you are going to do today. But yes, you will be able to discover that real self if you follow the path accordingly, as is explained in the first 14 steps. That is the only choice. Who can make the choice? I have an intellect, I can make the choice. So, first thing, free from all the suffering, free from the fruits of an action, fruits from free from all the accumulated impressions. That real self, that God, that Ishwar, that spatial Purusha is transcending all the three. Klesha, suffering, karma, action, vipaka, those actions have been completed and it has created an impression, but that impression remains in the mind. That impression is not the part of the real self. Finished. Like consciousness is like a space, nothing happens to the water, whether there is a tsunami or the waves or the storm. Nothing happens. Nothing happens to the space. Whether I'm living inside my house and talking to you, whether I go outside my house, nothing happens to the space. So nothing happens to the consciousness. That is the nature of the real self and the consciousness. Knowledge is very important, my friend. Why? My mind says, I have a knowledge, money will buy happiness. Example. Example. Now see that knowledge will trigger a desire to earn money. Desire will trigger an action to get that money. So my focus remains on the money that is outside. So this is a wrong knowledge. This is what the master is saying. That is why we say drop all the binding desires. We are not saying that you stop earning money. We are not saying that you stop marrying if you intend to. We are not saying you stop divorce. We are not at all concerned about it. We are only concerned about it. Do you have a right knowledge? So now I have a right knowledge. What is that right knowledge? That real self is unaffected, untouched by the karma, the fruits of the karma, fruits of my action, the past impression. Oh, I have to discover that real self. The intellect lives into that knowledge and awareness all the time, 24 by 7. Where is ego now? Let ego be there. If someone is asking you what's your name, you should tell. What you're doing, you should tell. But that ego is not there, which is causing the binding desire. Why? You have a right knowledge about the real self. That is why we are understanding. Our masters gave 200% attention that we should have a clear understanding. Let there be a right knowledge installed in the mind with the clarity and conviction, and that will trigger the right desire. What I desire real self while talking to you. Finished. The rest will come, rest will follow. Right? Real self. Real self. So there has to be a clarity that real self is here and now. It is a state of pure consciousness which is beyond all the karma, fruits of the karma, fruits of the karma. Hmm? And all the kinds of suffering, all the changes, neither a doer and enjoyer, it is present simply. The space is present. When you build a house, the space does not come to you and say, no, you cannot do this, you cannot do this, you can do this. Simple. How simple it is. Carefree. Yes, I live into that real self and that state of the pure consciousness. Right knowledge. Right knowledge. Clarity. Clarity. Now what happens? I have a wrong knowledge. Now replace it with the wrong knowledge. What is wrong knowledge? You already know it. It brings avidya, smita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesh. 5 causes of suffering explained by Patanjali. A lack of awareness of reality. Because of lack of awareness of reality, ego takes birth. Because of ego, attachment and detachment takes birth. Because of attachment and detachment, I have an identification with the body. So you are hitting your target at a wrong place. Remove that lack of awareness of reality. Remove the ignorance. Ego will not be there. And whatever the ego will remain after removing the ignorance is a ripe ego. You need not to pay too much attention to, don't get too much obsessed with the ego. Pay attention. Where is the ignorance? Hit it. That is all needs to be done. Are you getting it? You have to remove that primary source of the problem, not the secondary source. What is secondary source? Honey, I'm obsessed with you, I like you, and you don't follow me. That troubles me. What is the ignorance here? Secondary cause that I should fight with the honey. Primary cause is lack of awareness. Peace and happiness is not there. Come on. Honey, whatever you are doing is very good. Thank you very much. Thank you. Come on. You remove that awareness, you remove your ego. Now there is no reason to fight. Fight comes with the ego. See that? Do I dare to act like this in my daily life? I can bet you that you practice only 24 hours. The next day will be different. So you see that what we are learning in the step number 15 is what to meditate, how to meditate on unmanifest that I have not seen. So the master is saying that are you aware of a consciousness that is not a doer and the enjoyer, that is not affected by any karma, that is not looking for fruits of the karma, that is not entering into any kind of suffering at any point of time in my life. It is like the space in the water is not at all affected. Why it is not affected? It is one. Why it is one? It cannot be divided. You cannot have one consciousness, second consciousness. It is only divided when it enters into the mind. But behind that, it is one. It is one. It is one. It is that awareness when it is available all the time, 24 by 7, in which condition it is available, in all the condition it is available. I experience stress in the mind, it is available. That is how I experience the stress. I experience the pleasure. So, very experience is the knowledge. Knowledge is consciousness. I cannot have a knowledge without consciousness. A remote. Does the remote say, come on, I know I'm the remote? Without consciousness, it cannot have the knowledge. It is inert matter. See the logic put forth by these great masters. They are teaching this is matter. Matter is inert. Matter does not contain the consciousness. So this remote cannot say that, come on, I am remote. I can say I am Girish. So once I reach to that consciousness, then bring the knowledge of the Patanjali. Oh, that consciousness is unaffected by, oh, it's neither the doer and the enjoyer. It is simply, it is not affected by sorrow and suffering. But I experienced, I suffered, I reacted yesterday. I had a wrong knowledge. Mind built a ego because of the wrong knowledge, because of the attachment. That is why I reacted. Oh my goodness. Now I am aware. Now I am aware. Can you become angry tomorrow at 10 a.m.? You cannot become. At 10 a.m., you will become aware. In the field of awareness, you cannot become angry. When you lose awareness of yourself, then only you become angry. Can you become peaceful tomorrow at 10 a.m.? Yes. Simple answer is yes. So ego makes an entry from the back door. When it makes an entry from the back door, you are living in ignorance. So both are related. See that, we'll go a little deeper and deeper. So, first principle it says that consciousness. So, what my master used to say that you have understood, yes. So, he says constant thinking, contemplation is required. There is a consciousness. Is the consciousness property of the mind? No. Consciousness is the property of the brain? No. Property of the body? No. But all these are instruments by which the consciousness manifests. You give all the five sense organ to this remote, a vertical body like this, it will express its consciousness. Everywhere there is a consciousness. That is all pervading. But this cannot express itself because it does not have a fit instrument. I have a fit instrument. That is why the human race can only practice yoga. No one. Self awareness. Separate. I can separate the objective from the subjective reality. What I'm searching the subjective reality. Who I am. What is the real self? Patanjali says that real self is a spatial Purusha, spatial being. Why he says spatial being? We are always living with our ego, which we consider as spatial being. So he says he's a little more spatial than the ego, and he is working behind. I recognize my ego because of that spatial being. Without consciousness, how can I recognize my ego? See that? So now come to the question, how can I meditate on the formless? Does the consciousness has a form, color, shape, location? It is present everywhere. So I live into that formless consciousness. I'm doing meditation all the time. But I do not understand. When I practice, I miss it. That is why the first 15 steps. We are preparing the mind. Mind is ready 100%. Yes, what you say is right. What the masters are saying is right. I am there into that state. Take one more example I was just teaching before. That's a beautiful example. For a while, take that question out. The mind, is the mind source of creating this world or not? Leave that question aside. Now, simple awareness. What is simple awareness? When I wake up, the world outside appears to me. Appear. When I'm in sleep, the world disappears. This world appears in waking state. And this world disappears in the sleep state. So the world appear and disappear because of the mind. World appear and disappear because of the mind. It's very clear. Third point. When mind is not there or mind is totally empty, the world does not appear there. In that empty mind, what will happen? The real self will appear. So simple. Then there is only pure consciousness. That is why, but Now, here is a take. Why those previous 14 steps are required. Now, see that. The world appears true. Now, third point, world that appears and disappears, it means the world is not true. What appears and what disappears, how can I say it is true? It is not everlasting. Third point, go to the fourth point. Example, you are my honey. From where it comes? First, the world appeared. Then I built a relationship that you are my honey. And then the mind says lot of stuff. You are a good honey. You are a bad honey. You always give trouble to me. You always give pleasure to me. So everything is happening in the world instantly. The moment I see you, my mind wanders on millions of your aspects. Did you understand that point? Understand in a different way. The moment I say you are Mr. X, so the mind starts jumping with all the information, your shape and your size and your color and your behavior and your attitude and your emotions and your feeling, everything. So outwardly, it appears the mind is focused on Mr. X, but inside, the mind is wandering at different aspects of the X. Are you getting it? Take another example. Your house is very good. So when I say house is very good, I see lot of things. Your restroom, your living room, your bedroom, your kitchen, the articles lying in the kitchen. So mind is constantly wandering on those aspects. Even outwardly, the mind is fixed on your house. Clear?
Yeah.
So when the mind leaves those distractions, then the world disappears. Even in the waking state, what remains is the real self and the consciousness. You are there. That is why Patanjali says, empty the mind of its content. That is why Buddha says, nothingness. Now, I know the world appear and disappear. So, what appear and disappear cannot be true. What cannot be true? Still, I am, I exist. How do I know? I am pure consciousness. So I am meditating on formless real self. See that? Who can be everywhere? Consciousness. Who can be present at all time? Real self. Who can be present within every being? Real self. It cannot be anyone with the form. So it is a formless. So when we meditate on the formless, we take a big step in our life in the journey of self discovery. Now I'm meditating on the formless. I have a clarity of understanding that formless knowledge, full of knowledge, is consciousness, is my real self. What I have to do with any god and goddesses and different religion, I respect them all. Finished. I'm not tied. I'm not tied. क्लेश कर्म विपाक आशय परामृष्टः पुरुष विशेष ईश्वर. That Ishwar, that God is a spatial being. We made our ego as spatial. So it is more spatial than the ego is free from all the actions, fruits of an action, all the accumulated impressions. It is pure consciousness, everlasting, eternal. Consciousness is present in the sleep, but the world disappears in the sleep. Consciousness is very much present in the waking state. That makes me world real because it passes through the mind. And the mind is constantly flickering and wandering. Even now, you see that? Mind is looking at you, the screen, the image, the monitor, the wall, and behind it, it is aware of lot of stuff where the mind is. Calm down this mind. You will see that this world does not simply appears, it is not true. They simply appeared, it is definitely not true. The way the blueness of the sky appears, but it is not. The way the waves appear, it is not. What a beautiful state. Oh, is that a formless state of meditation? Yes, I can live into that state all the time. Once the mind says yes, you are almost reaching there. Spatial Purusha. What is spatial Purusha? Spatial being means the knower, the seer, the real self. I used to do lot of, I told you, Goddess Kali. My mind says Goddess Kali is real with its image. And it was so much absorbed, the mind was so much absorbed, I could feel she is with me. But as you grow into the meditation, one day I was simply sitting and my mind was chanting that mantra, Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shanti Rupena Sanstita Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha. Literal meaning, O Goddess Kali, you are sitting in deep inside my heart as permanent peace. That is why I do namaste to you, namaste to you, namaste to you. What? I am seeing the goddess Kali in the front and addressing that Kali with the right knowledge. You are of the nature of permanent peace here. What happened? Goddess Kali outside disappeared. Peace came here. Peace is formless. So there are beautiful, maybe I think 20 lines, 20 verses. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Sanstita. So that means, oh Goddess Kali, I am seeing outside. Now mind is moving inside. You are seated deep inside my heart as the supreme power of the knowledge. That is why I bow down to you. I bow down to you. I bow down to you means what? Ego, you are going gone. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu. Even, you'll be surprised to get rid of the relationship issues. One verse is that Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Patni Rupena Sansthe. Patni means wife. You are seated, O Goddess Kali, in deep inside my heart as a wife, as a honey. You are inside me. How can I fight with you? Your body melts, your mind melts, it leaves the ego. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shraddha Rupena Sanstita. O Goddess Kali, you are seated deep inside my heart as a faith. I need not to worry whether I have faith in this tradition or not. You are already seated faith, as a faith in me. What do I need? Does the faith has a form? Does the peace has a form? Oh, am I doing meditating? Yes, here and now. I live into that state of meditation. So once your mind claims and declares this, you are already there. Pick up the point, another point. You have a right knowledge. If the wrong knowledge is there, I gave an example of a money. So with the wrong knowledge, the mind that is triggering the desire, and that desire will focus only on the money outside. Now, the right knowledge, this is the real self, which is within me. I'm doing all the activities outside, but the mind, why I'm doing activities? For awakening to the real self. Simple. Why I'm going to the office? Nitya and Nitya. See that. I just record that. That's so beautiful. It's a long verse. It's a long total. I think it contains more than 100 lines. Om Namo Devyai Mahadevyai Shivayai Satatam Namo Nama Prakriti Bhadrayai Niyata Pranata Smatam Rodrayai Namo Nityayai Gauryai Dhatrayai Namo Nama Jyotsnai Chendarupanyai Sukhayai Satatam Nama. I remember all, even I have left it for 20 years. But that ignorance was broken by my master. I told you that I was used to pray and worship and meditate on Goddess Kali. One day he said, now I am your Goddess Kali. Meditate on me. Only those great masters can dare to say that. And that illusion is dropped, that Goddess Kali is outside. But the reference point remained, that peace and happiness and the Shraddha and the knowledge, everything remained. So this is how we meditate on the formless. This is the first sutra Patanjali says. So now see that what happens. That is the beauty of our journey. What is that? Once I understand that is the spatial being, that is the God, now the mind comes out in that state, looks at Jesus. Yes, Jesus is my God. Muhammad is my God. Krishna is my God. Shiva is my God. Manifested. I'm looking at the formless. Formless is always one, it cannot be two. It has different manifestations, so yes, I'm ready. I'm okay with it. So one master says, once your mind realizes and experiences that there is a complete splendor, there is a glory, there is a joy inside, you are filled with the joy, the knowledge, and the dispassion. In the second sutra, the master Patanjali says, Tatra niratishayam sarvagya bijam. It is the source of all the knowledge. It is highest. It is the source of all the knowledge. It is the seed of all the knowledge. What that means? It is the source of all the knowledge. Tatra niratishayam sarvagya bijam. What it means. So another master gives a clarity, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Now see, simple thing, simple way. He says, source of all the knowledge. Do I know you? Yes. Now let me remove the consciousness. Can I say I know you? No. Consciousness is gone. Consciousness is gone from here. I cannot claim. This cannot claim that he knows or it knows something else. So, from where the knowledge has come? From the consciousness. One way, simple way to understand, then we'll go deeper. Second point, I know the monitor. So, because of my knowledge, this monitor exists. Because of my consciousness and the knowledge, you exist in my mind. And I exist because of your consciousness and the knowledge. So you are the source of knowledge. Who is this you? It is the real self, it is the consciousness. So the consciousness and the knowledge are essentially one and the same thing. So the master says, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Simple meaning Satyam, the truth, knowledge, infinity is the real self. In one of the Upanishad it says. Now pick up the first word, Anantam. Anantam means it has no limit. It is unlimited in space, in time, in objects. I recognize monitor as an object because of the consciousness, so it is present here. I recognize you because of the consciousness, because you are. I recognize everything. Anantam, that consciousness is unlimited, transcends the time and the space. What is the meaning of? Now go opposite. When I say I'm limited in space, what it means? We are going little slowly deeper. Where it means that I'm limited in space. I am here, I'm not there. That is limitation.
Yeah.
But the consciousness is everywhere. So I feel the limited because of the body. I feel the limited because of the mind has a measurement that you are in this country and I am in this country. But the consciousness has no limitation. Now, what is time limitation? That I am born in 1958. It is the time. Consciousness was still there beyond before that, and it will remain after that. It has no beginning, it has no end. And it has no object limitation also. The consciousness does not have a limitation of an object. I with this name and the form exists there. You with that name and the form exists there. That object limitation is not there. The ego is already gone. The ego is always created in time limitation, in space limitation, in object limitation. See the beauty. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. It is like necklace, earring, nose pin. They appear different, but it is one gold. In the state of emptiness, I see that one goal, not the different objects. I don't see this world as it is. I don't see this world appears. This is one, say, this is necklace, there is earring, and they both are essentially made up of the same substance, and that is consciousness. So, me or my honey, or my kids, or my parents are different forms of the same gold, which is consciousness. We use the same analogy here. So it means when I say you and me, this is for the sake of communication, but deeper inside, we experience oneness at the level of consciousness, bypassing the limitations of the space, time, and object. So when we meditate on that consciousness, it is formless meditation. This knowledge is unlimited. We have understood the knowledge of the reality is hidden behind the mind. How come it is hidden behind the mind? In sleep, the world disappears. Now start thinking. Imagine that you are in deep sleep, nothing exists. Mind mind will stop wandering. Just imagine. I'm not saying do anything, just imagine what it looks like a deep sleep. There is no object, there is no body, there is no time, there is no space, there is no object. What is that? So the real self reveals itself there. That is why we say that emptiness, nothingness is required. Tatra niratishayam sarvagya bijam. It is the source of all the knowledge. All the knowledge. All knowing. That consciousness is what we say present or everywhere. It has the ultimate satisfaction. It is beginningless and endless. Its power never diminishes. Do you say, no, I had 5% consciousness today? Yesterday I had 50% consciousness. It doesn't go down, it doesn't increase or increase. I have one consciousness. Now, another part, and then we will have some questions. This consciousness, this real self is first is all source of all knowledge. It is living in the highest state of dispassion. That is why we ask the mind to come on, live into the state of dispassion so that you can achieve that. It has a tremendous power of tapasya. So if the mind learns what is tapasya, what is tapa, we can approach that. It is made from the truth. It has an element of 100% forgiveness. Now see that. We don't follow morality, and ethics. It is the quality of this consciousness, real self. That is why, so that the mind can reflect that pure consciousness, that real self, we are asking the mind to follow this. Get these qualities. We are not doing these qualities in our mind in this journey to help the world outside. No, that is not our journey. Forgiveness, truth, dhriti, patience, tremendous patience. Today I did not succeed. Tomorrow I will definitely succeed. Creativity, self awareness, these qualities are there. This is what it is. This is what is the real self, and that is how we move to the real self meditation when and where